Hey, it's me, Frankie. Don't mind that noise. It's work-related noise from work that I've been doing that is 100% related to the work that I get paid to do. Don't worry about it. So, we got pulled into an investigation. Who murdered Janison's dad? Who is also called Janison. How very suspicious. Using my master detective skills, I was almost a detective, you know. I have drawn up a list of suspects. At the top of the list, me. I'm very smart. I might have done it. But then, there's that respectable reporter. He's super sus. Other suspects are Karen's friend Barb from accounts, that Stephen Charity fella from the board, that very hot foreign lady, Darlene from the front desk, and me again. We're putting all the clues together, and we're getting closer by the minute. So close I can almost taste it. Just like that punch. I wonder if I could get more of that punch. That'll help me get to the bottom of this.
Kia ora, and welcome to the terrible adventures of the Janison Breakfast Part3 Company. My name is PD, and I am your DM for the day. Well, actually, I'm just always DM. I think if I had to dispose of a body, I would bury it under the foundations of a house. I think I'd crawl, underneath the crawl space under the house, dig down there, and put it under there. Because it's pretty. I don't see anyone getting under there to dig it up. So yeah, that's how I would do it.
My name is Stephanie, and I play Frankie. And if I think if I was to dispose of a body, I would chop it up, put it in a barrel, not use acid so the acid doesn't eat through the barrel, but use lime or something, and then bury it under where they're building houses and stuff just before they lay the foundation, bury it there.
Nice.
Not that I've been thinking about this a lot.
No, not at all. Hi, I'm Poppy. I play Idopher. And if I were to dispose of a body, it would be very much the Breaking Bad method of just chucking them in a barrel of acid. Because as soon as I saw that on Breaking Bad, I was like, damn, that's a good idea.
Not gonna put them in the bathtub?
Nah, that was a bad idea.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I play Flimvar, the halfling bard. If I had to dispose of a body, I've got two ways. So I've got the convoluted, let's spend some time on this way, which would be I would hide them in a morgue as an unclaimed body and fill out all the paperwork for them and make it legit as possible. And the other way would be I would bury them in an old refuge spot. In Huntley we've got the old bit that's full of methane gas and everything's kind of yuck anyway if you dig down enough. So it's kind of old refuge smelling and gas, and people are like, oh, we can't dig that up with a dicker because we'll explode then.
Note to self, check Huntley.
Thinking that, I'm like...
I'm Liz, and I play your favourite dwarf barbarian, Karen, and I'm going to go with the classic way to hide a body because I live pretty close to a pig farm, and those suckers will eat anything.
Even the teeth.
Even the teeth.
So if you leave our show a bad review, just beware, we're prepared for that.
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
So you guys are in the middle of an investigation of a murder. We'll pick up with Flimvar, Frankie and Idopher, who are currently attempting to question a fairly drunk Shitstein, who has gone from party drunk to depressed drunk in the amount of time that you have been interviewing other people. He was a good boss. I loved him so much.
Loved him?
Over the years, what would you say were your favourite moments of your interactions together?
There was the time that we drank champagne, and there was when he promoted me to the head of the factory, and we drank champagne, and then there was the other. We would drink a lot. He was a party boss.
Were you at the Christmas party? The Christmas party.
Which Christmas party?
You know the
Christmas
one.
party.
You know which Christmas
Party when things went down.
There was an incident at a Christmas party. Was it 6 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago? Still slightly tipsy.
Yeah, I was there.
Do you know what happened there?
To be honest, I was eating alcohol-soaked cherries, and at one point, everyone just got really upset and sent everyone home, except for like a few people stayed behind, like Steven and Jansen and one of the guards who showed up. There was a war torch there. And some other people, I think a couple of the Goliaths were there too.
I'm gonna have to smell your hands
Why?
for evidence.
Yeah, okay, go nuts. Roll me a smell-based perception check with disadvantage because you're still drunk.
14.
She smells like cinnamon. She's clearly been eating some of the cinnamon candies. You don't pick up the smell that you're looking for. A little bit salty. You think that she's maybe been wiping a lot of tears. You smell tears and cinnamon.
Frankie smells just a little bit too long because she likes to smell the cinnamon. Yeah. It smells nice.
After about 12 seconds of sniffing, she's like, okay, I think that's enough.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Frankie right
So at that party a while ago, there wasn't like a young girl or anything?
Oh, it's so long ago. I think so. People used to bring their kids to the Christmas parties. Honestly, like, I have a little bit of a problem with getting drunk at work parties, and I got sent home. When you're hanging out by the snack table and just eating all of the alcohol cherries, and then suddenly the party's over and everyone gets sent home, it's kind of a bummer. I think I took some of the Goliaths out partying after that. Yeah, I think that's what we did. Yeah, we went out to the club district. That was nice.
That sounds fun.
I've never been.
Oh, I'll take you sometime, honey. Don't worry. We'll go. Are you? How old are you?
21.
Oh yeah, we'll go to the club district sometime. It's gonna be so fun.
Got a view.
Justine, we've got to ask everyone this, but do you think you could think of anyone who might have something in for Janison Senior?
I mean, he is rich and pushy, and I think, I liked him, but he was always nice to me, so I think maybe anyone who he decided that he was pushy with maybe would have a grudge against him. I know that he and his son have a fairly rocky relationship because he took over from the old boss and changed things around. And, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna lie down. And she hops out of the chair and just lies on her side in front of you guys on the floor. It's oh, does anybody have any water?
Give us a little punch, maybe we can get you a cigarette.
Is there a water cooler around?
Yeah, well, there's a few water coolers in the
Okay, sweet. I'm just gonna run off and grab her a cup of water.
As you exit conference room B, you hear more than just a regular murmur coming from conference room A, where everyone is waiting, and there's actually a fair amount of noise and shouting and arguing coming from in there. And as you come back with the water, you see Cassie come out of the conference room looking fairly worried, and she's like, there's some problems going in there. There's a small kerfuffle breaking out in the conference room, and I wonder if maybe you guys might want to do something about that, because people are getting really upset.
I shoved the cup of water into Cassie's hand. I'm like, Cassie, go give this to the woman on the floor. I'll deal with this.
Okay.
So I open the door, and what do I say?
People are shouting, arguing. There's a couple of people who are trying to calm everybody down. Nobody in particular. Rytar is one of the people who's hey, let's chill. But everyone seems to be really upset, and they notice you come in, and they're like, hey, have you found out who did it yet? We don't want to be in here anymore. You made us sit in this room. You're making us sit in here with a murderer, and we don't know who it is, and we want to go home. It's kind of evident from the amount of bottles and stuff on the ground that people are getting drunk and rowdy and starting to get real upset about this. You two, Cassie comes in and fills you in on what's going on next door and kind of asks for your help. And you, now that both of the doors are open, you can actually hear like a lot of the upset crowd from the other room. And people are starting to really get angry at you, Idopher.
Oh, okay, so I thought, he's big boy, he can handle it. He can't. There's a lot of people yelling at him.
Yeah, and these are people that you work with, and some of them are getting really angry. And you're like, why is a janitor allowed to keep us locked in here? What's going on? Where's Janderson?
I'm just gonna go, oh, sorry, went into the wrong room.
You guys come in?
I come in here, I pull up my pants and I'm like, okay, listen up all of you. Somebody died. The murderer is still here. No one's leaving until we find it. And if anybody starts making the kerfluffle, I'll assume that they are the murderer and they will be dealt with swiftly.
People start throwing bottles at you.
Frankie,
can you just roll me a quick dexterity save?
Dex is a 15.
Yeah, so you dodge like a full-on champagne bottle that someone threw at your head, and you're like, whoa, and it flings past you, and people are like, let us out of here, we want to go home, we don't want to be trapped in here with a murderer.
Wrong room.
Oh god. Okay, can I roll performance?
Yeah, you want to roll performance? What are you trying to do?
So I'm gonna give a rousing. Well, I'm gonna try and calm the situation down, and reassure them.
Okay, you know that I'm gonna make you role play.
Yes.
Whatever you're gonna say, right?
Sure.
So give it a good jab. I promise you, I won't penalize you for using the wrong words. I think I really do. Have a good go. What did you roll?
So that's a 17 with my performance.
Damn!
Yeah,
I put a lot on the performance.
Okay.
Okay, so I take stock of who's where.
Okay.
And so I kind of open up my arms and be like, hey, folks, come on. This has been an amazing night that's turned into a terrible night. But, we're a family and we're sorting out our family business. Because you know what's worse than sorting out your family business yourselves?
Being trapped in a room with a murderer!
Having rival companies find out and then buying out your stocks really cheap because we have no jobs.
We like our job.
I like our jobs too, and I like all of you. We've had some moments over the coffee stations, we've shared water cooler jokes, we've shared commissions, pointing to Ryder. And this is tough. We came here to celebrate together, have a big surprise, have some yum food, amazing dwarf cheese, right? Some kind of weird punch, some champagne. But it didn't turn out how we wanted to. But what we do in the next moments is what brings us forward as a company. So we can tear each other apart, we can, you're more than welcome to try and storm out, but there are guards that are going to be wondering why you all wanted to leave a murder scene really quickly, right? And that's what we're trying to mitigate. Keep our company safe, keep you guys safe, and little tiny Janison has just lost his daddy, right? Imagine if that was you guys who lost your daddy to a murder at a welcome back party. So, we're nearly there. We've done we're sussing out timelines, where everyone is. People have been really helpful. We're really appreciate the people that we spoke to. And we've got a couple of people more to speak to. We're nearly there. You guys have got this. And we're going to bring in the food platter because it was definitely not poison.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And from behind you, Janderson Griffiths Jr. and Bolo enter, and they've clearly been listening to your speech. And they come in, and Janderson Griffiths Jr. pats you on the back and said, "Oh, Flynn, that was a very good speech. I do apologize to everyone for everyone being stuck in here. I'm sure this wasn't what you expected from a work party, but." It's just be a little longer. I'm sure Flynn and Frankie and Idopher are almost there, and you guys have probably figured out who did it by now, right? And during this moment of silence, Karen enters from behind everybody.
Karen arrives at the door. She is panting slightly and she's holding a hairpin loosely in her hand.
Wait, you pulled it off?
She had the previous one.
Oh, okay.
Her hair is ruffled and she has a wild look in her eyes and she says, I have news for all of you. The good news is, I know who the murderer is.
There's a murmur of excitement and approval and a little bit of fear from the crowd.
The bad news is, Stephen is dead.
There's a lot of shock coming from the room. Everyone's like, oh my gosh. And like, how do you guys react to that news?
Flinva's like, and then he pans to the crowd, and can I do an investigation to see everyone else's reaction? Like to see if anyone's...
perception.
Oh, perception, yeah. 10.
From the notable characters, Cassie seems surprised that there was another murder. Friskin is probably not listening, like his eyes are closed, he's got his feet up. Rydar is really shocked by that. He's like, oh my gosh, the guy from the board is dead, there's more murders.
What about Barb?
But like, no, you don't pick up like any guilty body language from anyone in the room.
Is Barb in there?
Barb's not in the room, so I can tell.
Karen says, everybody, I need you to quiet down. I'm going to blow this whole thing wide open. And she starts pacing and she says, the Janison Breakfast Parchment Company is a pillar of Ymir City. We are a proud Yamirsa business. And she gestures to everybody in the room. And she says, this is who we are. She says, we fended off hostile takeovers for years. And we refuse to bow to anyone or anything. Even when our boss is murdered, even when our manager is murdered, we will not allow our company to be taken over by anyone. And then she spins and she points the pin directly at the Countess and she says, especially someone from Toff.
Roll me a dexterity check.
Absolutely. That's a 7.
No, cool. The Countess like blinks at this like point. She doesn't seem fearful. She's like, oh, okay, cool, all right, interesting. But she doesn't say anything. Yeah, she's just looking at you.
And Karen says, oh yes, Countess, you thought you were so clever, weren't you? You thought you were going to get away with it, but the innocent act doesn't fool me. A young and beautiful woman sailing around the world with a scumbag old man, just there for his money and his power and his will and his assets and his dividends.
How are the rest of you reacting to Karen coming in and making an accusation?
I'm like, yes! Spill the tea!
I'm looking through to see. Can I just roll like some sort of, would it be intelligence to see if she's actually like
Bluffing?
Yeah, see if it's like a
insight.
bluff. Insight. That's.
Can I do that too?
Yeah, anyone who wants to can roll inside.
Because I'm like,
That's a 4.
Hey! Natural 20.
13.
The rest of you guys, like, you two are surprised that Karen's come in and just, like, you know, throwing down accusations without talking to you first. Idopher, something's up. Like, this isn't like Karen at all. She's much more of a team player. This is strange.
And panting slightly, she continues and she says, oh yes, you knew that he had a stake in the company. You knew that he had a controlling share. And you wanted it. You wanted this parchment company to become Toff's parchment company.
And she smiles and she's like, I am the Countess of the north sector of Toff. I do not need paper company. I have my own riches. I have my own towns that I live in.
And
what do I need this for?
This is how you people work, isn't it? You take over. You are sneaky. You're all the same. There's no way someone like you would ever be interested in someone like Janderson Sr. Spits it out.
I'm gonna just grab Karen and be like, okay, calm down, and pull her out of the room. Because it feels a bit... I'm not sure about this. And also you're being a bit racist.
Just roll me a quick dexterity check.
Absolutely. That's an 8.
Okay. So you pull Karen out of the room. As you do, the crowd is starting to turn and like stare either like angrily or fearfully at the Countess, and like she's still like not, her body language is not like frightened, but she is kind of like backing up towards the like door to the balcony a little bit, just because like the crowd's starting to turn on her and she's a little bit like, okay. So yeah, okay. So you pull Karen out of the room into the bullpen.
I get down on my knee. I'm like, Karen, what did you actually find?
Oh, I found the smoking gun, darling. I found the smoking gun. You see this pin?
I shove the pin out of the way and go, Karen, there's something up here.
The other one was in Stephen's skull.
Yes.
She did it. She's the only one who could have done.
Is she?
Yes. She's the one who has these pins. She's the one who wanted the power. She's the one who's been hanging out with Janison Sr. all this time. There's no one else. Who else?
Okay. Is it worth rolling inside again? Yeah. 10.
Maybe Karen's just been thrown off by the fact that she's seems to have found another dead body.
Okay.
She's definitely off, but like, it literally this might be the situation. Something strange, but she did just find another dead body, and she's very stressed out right now.
You have to call the guard. You have to call the guard. It's the only way. She can't stay here.
Janison Jr. Comes out of the room and says, Karen, are you sure?
Yes.
All right, I'll call the guard.
Wait. What evidence have we actually got that the Countess did this?
We've got the pins. We've got her motives. We've got her activity.
Frankie would like to just interject. Pretty sure she was in the room the whole time, so how could she have done it?
Well, didn't we pull her out of the room for an interview? She could have snuck away and...
Yeah, listen. Takes another swig.
Big boy Frankie.
I think it wasn't her because of reasons I have not yet made or know of. But listen, I think there's other people missing. I don't think she killed him. And he's completely lost his train of thought.
And I think we should let the guards decide. None of us good folk here in Ymir would possibly ever do something like this. So who's left? The foreigner? The stranger?
Maybe somebody who had something to prove or wanted revenge. Maybe somebody like Barb? Or me.
Oh, Frankie, I think you're getting ahead of yourself there. But actually, he's got a point. Where is Barb?
Well, I don't know. She's probably doing something very important.
Like murdering somebody else? Dun, dun, dun.
We all interviewed her. She was fine. She said that there was a cigar, and then he dropped dead, and she didn't see what happened.
But there wasn't a cigar. I'm going to assume they stepped out, because otherwise I'm like just standing in the room with...
Well, whatever it...
Come out. You can interject if you want. Like if Frankie's talking, he's come out of the room.
No, I came out when people started throwing. I'm like, wrong room.
Yeah, I want to interject and be like, Karen, I don't think there was a second cigar.
Whatever it was, it's probably some...
I think he was killed by magic.
It's probably some kind of arcane magic from Toph.
And who had a sketch of a magic activating item in the desk?
I don't know.
And who was there at the Christmas party last time?
And whose hands smelled strongly of cheese?
Who had a really young daughter that they would need to protect if something happened at a frisky party, and who has been sent away since?
There's just no way Barb wouldn't do something like that. She's a strong, proud dwarf who is... Anyway, Janison, the guards, we need them here right now. Something's going to happen to her before she can... We can't let her escape justice.
Karen, your friends don't seem convinced. Are you sure? I trust you, but...
Yes.
Okay, we'll call the guards. And Janison Jr. heads off to his office, where you can assume he has some kind of guard calling mechanic of some description. Karen, roll me a dexterity check.
Absolutely. That's a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inside the room, you can hear the crowd. You can hear the crowd begin to really turn on the Countess. And like, we'll throw you to the guards. And she's like, kind of like up against the sort of glass door. And even in this moment, like you would think that she would be more frightened, but she's just kind of like, oh no, not the guards. But like no one seems like they really want to like walk towards her, but she's definitely like been ostracized from the crowd right now. Friskian is like oddly like not part of the mob, but like is now awake and like kind of like observing the crowd in a way that you haven't seen him do before. He's like, this is interesting.
So do we all see that?
Whoever's looking into the conference room.
I'm pretty keen to nip my head in and see how the Countess is doing, because I'm still very attracted to this woman.
Okay.
And I'm like, perfect. I don't think she killed him, and this is my time to act like a hero. Yeah! And Frankie's whispering in my ear, which is really sweet.
Do that. Go rescue her.
Okay.
So I'm gonna jump in front of the crowd and go, no, it wasn't the Countess.
How do you know? Karen said it was her. She murdered Stephen Charity.
Yes, well, and then I grab the Countess and run her out of the room.
You can't. The crowd is too thick. Like you could make your way through the crowd when you get in, but they're not letting her out of the room.
Dang. Okay.
Somebody take her to meet the gods outside.
Yeah.
her
Sorry.
hands.
I was a little flustered. I made sure taking you to the guards. Get out of the way.
The crowd is mostly like, hey, so we're not letting her out of this room. If we all had to sit in here with her, then she can stay here. This is Rightar talking. He's like, when the guards arrive, we'll let her out with them.
Karen walks in through the doors and says, yes, don't let her leave. We can't trust her anywhere or with anything or with anyone. And she looks at Idopher, and there's just fury.
Roll me another dexterity check.
Absolutely.
So I've already get rage.
That is a 16.
Karen, you managed to get the blindfold off your eyes, and you find yourself sitting in the dark with your hands tied. And after a few moments of struggling, you manage to free one of your hands. And when you realize that you're in Stephen Charity's closet.
All right, I will open the door just a crack and peep out to see if anybody is still there, or if
the room's empty.
I'll open the door slowly and creep out of the room, heading down towards where all the noises are.
You feel woozy. You feel like your body's kind of tingly, and your memory of what happened after you discovered Stephen Charity's body begins to return to you. And you feel sick to your stomach when you remember exactly who came in while you were staring at the body and what they did to you. As you get closer to conference room A, you can hear shouting, angry riots, and you walk in to conference room A and you find Idopher and the Countess surrounded by an angry crowd backed up against the door to the balcony, and yourself leading the mob.
I'm going to say...
Just wait. Girl!
Karen takes a deep breath and she says, stop.
Wait.
The crowd turns to you, and everyone is suddenly very confused by the second Karen who has walked into the room.
Karen?
Yes. I am Karen.
The first Karen who says, like, turns around and says, no, this is some kind of imposter. I don't...
Oh, shut up,
her.
Flimva points at the Karen that was leading them and says, tell me the backstory about your handbag!
And she's like...
Yeah, the first Karen looks confused and says, it doesn't matter, it was a gift. It doesn't matter from my daughter.
It does matter.
Well, yes, it's a very nice bag, but I don't see what that has to do with this imposter. And as the second Karen walks through the crowd, she says, it was not a gift from my daughter. It was a gift from my son. And the strap was fixed in the heart of a warforged.
Ha! Karen! And I point to the actual Karen.
Yep, great reaction there, Flynn.
There's a lot of murmurs as everyone's really confused, and then suddenly everyone's like, well, if you're Karen, then who's that?
And she gets up to the first Karen and she puts her hand shakily on an identical shoulder and she says, Barb, what have you done?
I knew it!
I knew it too.
Frankie pipes up.
And she tightens her grip on the fake Karen's shoulder, and she socks her in the stomach with the ring of the ram.
Oh, yeah!
Roll me an attack roll.
Absolutely. That is a 17 to hit.
Okay. What is the effect of the ring of the ram?
So the successful punch deals 2d12 damage, and the target is knocked back in feet equal to the dice roll.
Okay.
Half distance for every size over large.
Okay. So she's not large.
Okay.
So roll me the damage. And
Okay.
tell me how far you push her back.
That is 14 damage. So she'll get knocked back 14 feet.
Okay. Everyone is staring as the two Karens come together. One of them is spluttering and blustering and trying to get her way out of this. And then the other Karen just walks up, puts a hand on her shoulder and just punches her in the gut and just sends her flying. She flies back into the Countess, and then both of them tumble out of the door to the balcony together.
Oh my god.
Barb's using magic, that's illegal!
So, just quickly, is Barb did you use some kind of magic to look exactly like Karen? Oh, okay, so she's not dressed up as Karen.
Liz knows what happened.
Okay.
Karen, the real Karen, watches them both tumble out onto the balcony, and she springs into action, and she runs out and holds down the fake Karen whose illusion is disappearing.
As you come out the door, you are correct. Now the other Karen now looks like Barb again. But as you come out, Barb is now has an arm around the Countess's neck, and in one hand is holding a blue glowing coin, and the other hand is holding a strange piece of parchment that has glowing text on it. And she says, "Hold it right there. He deserved it. I'm not going down for this. I'll kill this one if I have to."
Bob, darling, it's.
Tell us the story, Barb.
Please, help me understand.
The four of you kind of squeeze out onto the balcony. The Countess is on her knees, and Barb has an arm around the Countess's neck, and she's standing basically back to the edge of the balcony, and she says, "Janison Sr. was a scumbag. He tried to attack my daughter, and everyone covered it up. She was scarred, and she went to live with her father, and I lost her. And you did nothing."
Bob, I didn't even know. I wasn't even at the party.
He deserved it. The scumbag. She wasn't ready. I just brought her to the party because I thought she would have fun. I thought she would see the place that we had built, and I lost her.
And Stephen?
He knew too much. He had to go. He drowned Janison Sr. in the punch. I used magic to hold him, and Stephen killed him.
Oh.
But this was... You don't understand.
So Stephen murdered Janison.
Okay, yeah, so this probably isn't the time to...
But Barb, this isn't worth it. You're supposed to be seeing your daughter in a week.
If it was your kids, you would understand.
Come on, Barb. You can't do this again. And I'm imagining that on the balcony next door, Fabian is like furiously scribbling down.
It's kind of like around the corner. So it's on the corner of the building, so the balcony to conference room B would be just out of sight. But,
Sure.
Yeah, I imagine that he's probably listening to everything that's going on and like furiously scribbling it down.
We can fix this. Stephen killed Janison Sr. and then, driven by guilt, he killed himself. We can fix this. You can still see your daughter, but we can't look at all the people.
Insanity.
Look at all the people, Barb. There's so many people here.
Idopher, while Barb and Karen are having this moment, Barb is obviously busy. So Ido is going to use Mage Hand to try and... which one's going to be most important to get rid of? Probably it's Electrum that she's holding, isn't it?
She's holding the Electrum and a strange scroll with glowing text on it.
Okay. I'm going to try and remove the Electrum because I feel like that's probably the catalyst for this, right?
It's pretty smart.
You have a rogue ability called Mage Hand.
Legerdemain.
You have an ability called Mage Hand Legerdemain, which lets you, gives you extra Mage Hand abilities, right? Including the ability to do it invisible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You can roll a sleight of hand check, contested by Barb's perception. So you're going to attempt to steal the Electrum piece, knock it out of her hand, do what?
There wouldn't be a higher chance on either one, would there? Like if I just hit it hard.
Tell me what you want to do and I'll tell you.
Okay, so no, ideally I would like to take the piece.
Okay, roll me a sleight of hand check and I'll contest with Barb's perception.
Come on.
I am helping because Karen is currently talking to Barb, so...
You don't have advantage.
That's much better. That's an unnatural 20.
Nice. So this moment of really tense, like a standoff, with Barb has a hostage, and she's holding an Electrum piece, and you guys all know that like she's somehow using magic, even though she probably doesn't know naturally how to do it. It's got something to do with the paper. She is really tense, and then all of you see in a strange moment the Electrum piece suddenly like yank upwards out of her hand. And you look around and you realize that Idopher's got like a weird like concentration face on. This is one of his first times really like using his hand, and he's like kind of like, okay, telekinesis, go. Yeah. And Barb suddenly very frightened, and she drops the parchment as the Countess just stands up.
I love the Countess.
Barb's arm is still like wrapped around the Countess, and the Countess like stands up as though she weighs nothing. And the Countess suddenly is like, well, I'm really tired of this. And she's dropped the accent.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
She just goes, goodbye. And she leans backwards, and her and Barb fall off the balcony behind her.
You just step up the balcony.
What?
Yeah, I run to the edge of the balcony and look over.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But I pick up the parchment and pocket it just quickly.
Okay, do you examine it first?
No.
Ido took the Electrum for himself.
You've got it. Okay, so you can add one Electrum to your inventory.
Yeah, nice.
So the rest of you who ran to the edge of the balcony, you see the Countess and Barb fall 3 stories, and the Countess lands gracefully on her feet in heels with seemingly no repercussions, and Barb just hits the pavement.
Oh! Oh my god, Karen.
But just looking over in shock like, the fuck?
She is not moving, and the Countess picks her up and walks into the factory, which like the door to the factory is really nearby, just kind of picks her up and just walks into the factory and either side of her.
Karen spins on her heels. Her face is pale. She is shaking, and she begins to run out of the door, and she doesn't say anything to anyone, but you think she might be heading towards the factory.
Yeah, Frank will be heading down there too.
I follow and I'm like, where'd her accent go? Who is she?
Where are you going to?
Yeah, but I'm just kind of taking a rest for a bit because I was pretty heavy on the old noggin. But yeah, soon after I follow them out.
Okay. You 4 of you run down, 3 flights of stairs to the main entrance, and you burst out the main doors, and you run sort of around the corner into the factory after where you saw the Countess go, and Karen, you're in the front, and you can hear Barb screaming for help. And she said, Karen, help me! And you enter the factory, and you can see the Countess holding Barb up against some of the machinery with one hand as though she weighs nothing, and taunting her. She's digging her fingernails into like grabbing a broken knee and just like playing with it, and there is something very, very wrong going on here with the Countess and with Barb.
Oh my god. Yeah, Karen skids to a halt about 20, 30 feet away, and she says, "It's time to stop. Countess,
The Countess drops Barb and turns to you and says, "Whatever do you mean?" Oh, sorry. Whatever do you mean?
She doesn't deserve
By the way,
this.
she did both. That wasn't me correcting myself.
Yeah.
That was her.
She doesn't deserve this.
Well,
Please.
I don't know, Karen. She tried to throw me under the bus, and I haven't killed anyone today.
I think there's been enough death. Please. The guards are on their way. She's going to be arrested. We don't need to make this any worse than it already is.
Are any of you going to say or do anything?
Yeah, I feel like just at this point, Ido skids into the factory like, wait! What's happening?
So you can see Barb very injured lying at the Countess's feet. Karen about 25 feet away, just like arm out, just trying to negotiate with her. Frankie and Flynn, you guys enter just a few seconds later into this situation, and the Countess kind of smiles and walks forward on her beautiful heels, and the four of you kind of like converge in one area, and she's like, "I'm bored. This whole situation was supposed to be a night off for me, and yet here we are, drama and all."
I would love to hear your story.
Just wondering, is the other machines going? Like,
No, she was just kind of like holding her up against the machine. Without the Goliaths there to like power the conveyor belts, they tend to. There's no electricity, so like you have to turn them on. They need to be operated.
sweet. Okay. Oh, please don't kill her. You're too hot to kill anyone.
Oh my god!
And she looks at you and winks, and she's like, "Darling, you have no idea."
And Ido melts a little bit.
Bob is moaning about 10 feet behind, and she's like, "Well, are you all going to leave me to finish my prey, or are we going to have fisticuffs?"
Let's just calm down. Let's just talk. We want to know, like Flinvar said, we want to know your side of the story. Please, Countess.
Roll me persuasion check.
Okay. Oh, that's an 8. No.
She smiles and she says, "Oh, I suppose since you're going to be dead in a minute, there's really no harm in telling you. My name is the Assassin, and I am one of the 6 holy servants. And let's see what you've got."
Oh,
And as she says this, black ink begins spilling out of her eyes and out of her ears and out of her nose and mouth, and just like spreading across her body and covering her with nightmarish inky armor, and 2 disgusting like inky horns grow out of her head and spread around and end up touching each other at the front in a devilish horn-like halo, and skeletal wings begin to extend from the shoulder blades of her back. And for just a moment, a nightmarish demonic skull is projected in front of her face, and I need all of you to roll wisdom saves.
Can Flinvar turn to Idopher and be like, "Still find her attractive?"
Surprisingly, yes.
Oh, I got a 20.
nice.
That is a 6.
I got a 22.
Wisdom saving throw,
Nice.
yes.
14.
Yeah, you got like a 9.
So, Frankie and Idopher, the 2 of you are paralyzed with fright. This has struck you in your heart, and you are affected by the frightened status, and you are both completely terrified of this person who has transformed into this nightmarish dark angel in front of you. Karen and Flynn, you feel something attempting to overtake you, but you both plant your feet and tense your bodies, and you manage to, for a moment, feel the fright, but know that it is something that is external to your own emotions, and you push through it, and you feel, for a moment, you feel even braver than you would have just a moment ago. But before you 2 know what you're doing, Frankie and Ido, you are both sprinting out of the factory and away from the source of your fright. For the 4 of you, I need you to roll initiative.
Yay!
Kia ora, Penny here. And to quickly address the elephant in the room, a deep apology from me for the quality of the sound of this episode. My mic file corrupted, so I had to make do with the splash off of the players' mics. Please don't think that I don't value your time as an audience, and I'm genuinely sorry. And I will make sure our standard is higher in the future. Thank you for sticking this far into the episode. I hope the story will make it worthwhile. If you're listening to this on release night, our very own Liz Parker, that's Karen, is going to be participating in another crossover D&D game with other New Zealand podcasters on Twitch tonight. Tune in from 7 PM New Zealand time on twitch.tv/gettingdicey. She's playing a character she's very fond of, and we're all going to be there to cheer her on. Also, the Terrible Adventures of the Janice and Breathitt's Parchment Company is going to be doing our very own Twitch livestream on January the 2nd. All our players and a few special guests are going to get together for a one-off adventure set in Mat Zemla. Stay tuned or follow our social media for more details. Music credits. Thanks to Aaron Kenny for The Black Cat, DJ Freedom for Street Rhapsody and Today's Plan, CXDY for Fallacy, Future Mono for Lands Unknown, Tabletop Audio for Dark Angel, Bobby Richards for 19th Floor, Nico Staff for Fast and Run, Track Tribe for A Brand New Start, and as always, thank you to Regan McKinnon for the show's theme song. You can interact with us at facebook.com/Janice and Breathitt's Podcast, and we also have a Twitter at JBPC Podcast, where we post show updates and maybe now some facts about famous murders. Maybe, Liz? Famous murders? We love hearing from fans, so please feel free to leave us a message or tag us. You can listen to the show at janiceandbriffords.podbean.com, as well as on Spotify, Apple, Google, and wherever you get your podcasts. Episode 4 of Who Spiked the Punch will be out on Sunday the 20th of December. If you think the arc is done now, well, you just have to wait and see what happens next. Once again, to our audience all around the world, thank you so much for listening. Time to get back to the show.
Karen got a 13.
Ida got a 4.
Frankie got a 5.
I got a 10.
So the assassin's a holy servant, right?
One of the 6 holy servants.
Awesome. Terrifying, but awesome.
It's combat time. Karen, you're up first.
Oh, Karen's up first. Okay. Karen actually has 4 pieces of electrum on her.
Yeah, okay.
She does have her necklace still, so
You guys never take them off, right?
yeah, always got the pendants. So she is going to. Now it's a bonus action to take out the weapon, and it's a bonus action to pop rage, so I won't be able to attack in this first turn.
It's a free action to summon your axe.
Okay.
It becomes a bonus action if you summon and dismiss on the same turn.
Right, that's it. Okay, so Karen summons her axe. It glows blue in the dim light, and brighter blue glows from her left hand as an electrum piece slowly sinks into her skin, and blue veins kind of wrap up her arm, and she pops rage, and she's going to attack. I'm going to move 25 feet forward, and I'm just going to give her a big whack.
She's actually 15 feet from you. Actually.
I'm going to run 15 feet and give her a big whack.
Okay. Okay. Attack roll.
That is a 19 plus 7.
Very nice.
Karen mad.
So you run up to her, you summon your axe, pop rage. She smiles. She's like, "Oh, cool, interesting." And you run up to her and you give her a big slash just straight across the front with your magic axe. Your axe sinks into her ink armor. How much damage do you do?
So that's a 14 plus 2 is 16 slashing damage.
Very nice. You walk up and you just give her just a straight, like as hard as you ever remember doing, you just hit her in the chest with the axe. And she takes a step back. Your axe comes out and the ink that makes up her armor like slowly creeps back over the top of the wound. And it's the assassin's turn. And she smiles and she kind of like tilts her head and looks at you funny. And she steps sideways into a shadow cast by the light and vanishes.
Shit.
And you hear her say, "Well, isn't that interesting?" Did you say you were a middle manager? Yes, you can do this. It is now Flynn's turn.
Alright, so have I seen her vanish into this thing?
Yeah, you saw her step sideways
Alright.
and disappear.
So how far away is Karen from me? That you moved 15.
50, yeah, we were about the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
So,
I gapped it. I'm going to cast Heroism,
oh, what does that do?
so I can choose. I can choose 2 people now, but it's touch, so I have to
You
wait.
can choose yourself as well.
Oh, I touch myself. Okay, so we get 3 temporary hit points,
Lovely.
and we are immune to being frightened and.
Nice.
So you gain those temporary HP at the start of each of your turns.
Yep.
Shit.
Cool. Flynn, you run up and you you put your hand over your heart and you touch Karen's shoulder, and both of you are momentarily overtaken by a golden light, and you both feel confident about this fight.
Nice.
Sure, that's what you do. Next up is Frankie. Frankie, you are currently frightened. Mm-hmm. What would you like to do?
I guess the only thing I can do is run away.
You can take actions if you want, but you have to use your full movement to run away from it.
Okay, so I am going to run away. And then my action would be I want to summon my crossbow and just ready in action for when she reappears to attack.
Okay.
If I could do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so okay, so you're going to prepare an attack if she appears within your line of sight.
Yeah.
Correct? So you are overtaken by adrenaline as you just sprint as fast as you can away from the thing that is completely terrifying you.
Very much.
You make it out of the door and across about 10 feet of the tarmac outside the factory. Above you, you can see a lot of people looking down the balcony, but you summoned your crossbow before you made it out there.
That's right,
so you didn't do it in front of them, but you're holding the red crossbow and you're just sprinting out. Next up is Idopher. Idopher, this has affected you in a way that is stronger than you would have thought. You kind of considered yourself to be like a brave hero, and this is just pants-pissingly terrifying. This woman who you were attracted to just a moment ago has struck you with a fear that you don't understand as you run as fast as you can just in front of Frankie. Would you like to do anything with your turn other than just flee?
Cower. But then I look up and I see the people on the balcony and I think, oh my god, I look like such a fucking coward. But I can't help it, like I'm just so terrified.
From their point of view, you all 4 of you ran in, and then a few seconds later, the 2 of you ran back out again as fast as you can. Alright, back to the top, it is Karen's turn again.
Okay. So this lady has vanished into the shadows. And Karen is going to back up, so she is standing over Barb, who's presumably just kind of lying on the floor like, ah. And she says, "We don't have to do this, assassin. We can talk it out still. It's not too late." And she's listening to see if she can hear any laughter or chuckles, or will there be a shadow kind of within hitting distance that she can kind of swipe at.
Where she initially disappeared from was like 5 feet. Like she just moved like a couple of steps from where you first hit her. It disappeared into that shadow. You could probably attack that area if you wanted to.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. And I will lose another piece of electrum because I'm keeping rage up.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Just so you know, you are not visible to the people on the balcony.
Yeah.
You are right now.
Yeah.
As long as you're in the factory.
Yes. So my weapon is out and it's all good. Nobody knows that I am magical. Oh, that's an 18 plus 7 to attack.
Unfortunately, there's nobody there.
I didn't think there would be.
You swing it where you last saw her, and your axe just passes through the air, and you are fairly certain that she has some kind of movement, shadow movement ability.
Yes. So I'm listening for any kind of laughter. If she thinks that it's funny that I've just kind of swiped at the air, trying to kind of pin down where she is. Can I roll like perception or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm about to do her turn next, so you can just react to that if you want.
You know what?
You know what? Roll me a perception check
Okay.
anyway.
That is 21.
Cool. Yeah, so the assassin's turn is next. She does giggle kind of childishly. She's like, as she appears behind you, a different shadow, like an unconnected shadow. The area that you're in is fairly like, it's only night lit, so there's a couple of sort of like safety lights on so people don't bump into the machinery, but there's like areas of light and areas of dark, and she pops out in a different space, and she says, my, how impressive magic and glowing weapons, and let's see. And she holds her hand out, and her fingernails release a series of like flechette darts. As she flings a cloud of small razor-sharp darts at you, Karen. I need you to make a DC 14 dexterity save.
She is very cool. Okay, dex save.
She's just an amazing avatar.
Roll high. I'm whispering at my dice to roll high because I have a +0 to dex. That's a 4. Yikes.
You take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points of piercing damage.
Is that half?
You're raging?
I'm raging.
Yeah, so it is.
So
thank the Lord.
13
Down to 6.
down to 6,
You
okay.
take 6 points of piercing damage.
Lovely.
As these like tiny razor sharp darts just like sink into your back by your shoulder blades.
And you're like, ooh, acupuncture.
Yeah. Ouch, that hurts a lot. But I will kind of spin to look at her.
And as a bonus action, she doesn't turn invisible, but she does disappear from where she is and reappear in a shadow a little further away. So that she now has line of sight on Frankie and Idopher who are running away. So she can see out the door of the factory, but she's still within the covered area where the crowd can't see her. But she's now visible. Flynn, you're up.
So who is she closest to?
At the moment, she's probably about 30 feet back from where you two are, and probably she's the corner where like you guys are 30 feet back within the factory, and then 30 feet out the door is where Flynn and Frankie are.
And how much of the factory floor area is in shadows? Like,
About half of it.
so I'm going to do 2 things.
Cool.
I'm going to cast my Bardic Inspo as a bonus action. So I'm going to cast it for Frankie.
Cool. Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah. So you get
How do you inspire him?
so I'm like, I kind of look around like a little bit panicked, like, fuck, and I'm like, got Karen's back. Who next? And I'm like, Frankie, she's magic as fuck, but you got this.
Wow, inspiring.
You got this, bud. Kick her ass. And I'm like, like aggressive thumbs up. Yeah, and so you get 1d6 to add to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, and this can be added after seeing the roll, but not before knowing the outcome.
Thanks, mate.
That's alright. And I'm also going to reach into the bag of holding and bring out a torch and light it.
Nice. Okay. So there is now 30 feet of light around you. The shadows within 30 feet of you are now illuminated. Cool. Very nice. A good move. Okay. Next up is Frankie. I want you to roll a wisdom saving throw.
That is a 6.
You can add the Bardic Inspiration
that's
back to it if you want to.
I hope so. That is a 9.
You're still frightened, unfortunately. I was looking for 12.
Oh.
But she's within your line of sight now. So take that shot and then I'll let you have your turn.
That is a 6.
You fire blindly behind you and you're fairly sure you didn't hit her. And now you're running towards the road. Or you can run to the building if you want, but you just have to run away from her. The most direct line away from her is towards the street.
Okay. And how far away is...
She's 30 feet from you now. And so you can take your action before you move if you want.
Okay, cool. Because I wanted to cast a spell. Okay, useful one.
Well, remember, your spells are invention based. Not
Okay.
necessarily.
Okay, yeah, that's right. It doesn't look like I'm casting a spell, just making wonders. Okay, so the spell I want to cast, as I sneakily pull out an electrum out of my shoe, is Fairy Fire on her, so that she won't be able to go invisible if it works.
So is that like a grenade that you throw?
Yeah, so because the electrum's kind of blue and my thingy is blue, I want to like just like sort of crush it on a rock and I spit on it, and then I'm like, you lob it overhead, and then when it like hits, somehow it like explodes and it's like very, well, like bluey sort of dust everywhere and everything's just all bluey on fire. He hasn't quite worked out exactly how it works, but you know, prototypes have proven effective.
Okay, so she has to fail a dexterity saving throw, so just give me a second. Yeah, she fails a dexterity saving throw.
Nice.
So you throw your grenade behind you and she kind of like tilts her head and watches it as it comes close. Because she's like, that's not going to hit me. But it hits the ground sort of like near her and just explodes in this like blue powder puff. And when the puff clears, she's now covered in like this glowing blue dust, which makes it impossible for her to turn invisible.
Nice.
Yes.
And then Frankie's like,
And
he
then
runs away.
Yeah, and then you like bolt towards the street.
I love it.
Idopher, it is now your turn.
I don't think I can do much, can I?
I don't know, like you can still take actions. There are people watching you, so spells might be out of the question depending on what you want to do.
Okay, there's kind of nowhere that will hide, unless I went back in the factory, which I can't. There's nowhere that I can hide from people on the balcony, right? Like there's no other...
If you just keep running towards the street with Frankie, you will eventually end up out of their line of sight.
Okay.
So you run an extra 30 feet. Would you like to do anything else?
Just catch up with Frankie, be like, dude.
Okay.
Go get your girlfriend.
Your heart is pounding, and you could feel it in your brain. And your vision is blurring, and in you're starting to experience hallucinations, and you can hear a female voice and your dad's voice. The female voice is saying, "It's okay, my child. It's all right." And then you can hear your dad say, "Hey, Jack, you okay?" And then you can hear the female voice say, "You're going to be fine, little one. It's okay." And then you can hear your dad say, "Son, it's okay, come back to me." And these voices are mixing and melding and saying the same thing and splitting from each other, and you are just so scared of what is happening right now.
I feel like Ido would be like running towards Frankie, going like, Frankie, and then just fall. Because just super overwhelmed.
You've moved your full 30 feet and you fell as you reached the road.
Yeah.
Frankie would be holding, or like, it's okay. I'm scared too.
Meanwhile, I've got like spirals for eyes.
Karen?
Karen is keeping up rage. With Fairy Fire, I get advantage on attack rolls.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
And she can't turn invisible.
And she can't turn invisible. So I'm going to rush her and try and attack again with the Great Axe.
Cool. Go ahead, so you run your full movement up to her and you're going to give her a...
Big slash, that is a 24 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah, it sure do hit. And a 1d12 plus 5 plus another 2. That's 14 slashing damage.
She's less amused this time. You like hit her in the thigh, which is like, you know, it being like sexy demon armor is like part of the body that's exposed.
She's wearing a bikini, guys.
It's sort of in the shape of like garters as it goes down her thigh.
Oh, yeah.
At the side of her thigh, and she's less amused this time as she kind of looks at you. She's kind of confused. You are not what she was expecting. She was expecting a victim, and you are not proving to be that. She is going to spread her wings and fly up into the air. And you can take a attack of opportunity.
Attack of opportunity, absolutely, I would like to. That's still at advantage?
Yeah.
22.
Yeah, cool. You hit her again?
Yep, fantastic. Oh, exactly the same.
Nice.
14 slashing damage.
She growls like demonically at you.
Ooh.
But then her growl kind of like peters off into a giggle. She's like... as she flies up into the air, and sort of like with it, she's halfway between you and Flynn, sort of like up towards the ceiling of the... It's not really rafters because it's a factory, just sort of like up into the gap of the roof. And she's going to clap her hands, and a dark sphere of energy like blasts out. And you and Flynn both feel the same momentary fear overtake you, but because of Flynn's heroism, you are both immune to that effect. And she realizes that she has no effect on you, and she growls and she starts to fly towards the door of the factory.
Karen yells at, "Don't let her get away! The guards are coming. We've got to keep her here."
Yeah, Flynn, you're up.
So I'm going to cast Thunderwave at her, so she's flying, I assume, like kind of past me, or?
Yeah, isn't Thunderwave kind of centered on yourself? I think it's kind of a close range spell.
So it's a 15-foot cube originating from you.
Yeah, she's not within that range.
Okay.
She's up in the air. She's probably about maybe 15 feet up and still back from you. She's not directly above you.
Okay. Can I move closer so she's within a 10-foot range?
You could run if you run so that you're standing directly under her. Then yeah, you can hit her with that.
Okay. Yep. I'll do that.
So you run 10 feet towards Karen. Karen's just out. Oh, Karen's within that range.
That's okay.
But if I can point it up.
It's a cube centering on yourself. So if you run directly under her, you can hit her with it, but you'll also hit Karen.
It's fine. I've got
Have you got
resistance.
good constitution?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got good con. I got.
Has she got good con though? Oh, we'll find
Okay,
out.
so
We'll
how
find
do you
out.
activate the thunder wave?
So I'm gonna do it as a clap, like a.
Cool. So you run so that you're kind of directly under her. You do like a skid on your knees and you do a knee slide, and then you just like clap your hands, and a burst of energy. And there was a piece of electrum in your hands as you clap, and it shatters and it just goes in every direction. What is the saving throw for that?
She must make a con saving throw, and on a failed save, she takes 2d8 thunder damage, and on a successful save, she takes half of that as much damage.
So that was a con save, right?
What do you need to make? What's your spell saving throw?
My spell DC is 13.
Yeah.
Cool.
She meets that. She got 14.
Ooh, meets beats.
What was yours?
I got a 16,
Okay.
so that takes half. But then I also have resistance, so does that mean I take a quarter, or does it not stack?
I'll let it stack.
Yeah!
I'll let it stack because you're a bear. You're a bear totem.
Bear totem, yeah.
Yeah, so you can take a quarter does
So,
the pushback not work if they succeed?
So if they succeed, they take half damage.
Cool, roll the damage.
Sorry, Karen.
oh, you're fine.
I have 3.
3 plus what?
3 plus 3.
So 6, so 3, so I only take 1 damage.
Yeah, she takes 3. Alright, roll again.
A 2. So 5.
So she takes 4 damage, Karen takes 2.
Yeah, Karen staggers back a bit.
And she is so very curious now. She's looking down at you guys, and like you resisted her fear magic, and you're hitting her back with strong attacks, and she's like, Karen, you kind of get the feeling that she's having a great time.
Oh no.
She's still glowing blue, so she can't turn invisible, but she's going to Flynn. Her ink armor extends into a sword, and she's just going to drop out of the air and try and hit you with her big sword.
And you're going to have to make a concentration save as well.
Yeah, on heroism. Okay, so she's going to attack you with her big sword.
Big sword.
My big sword.
That's a 15 to hit. Does that hit you?
I've got my armor class as 15.
Yeah, meets beats, so she does hit you. So she just drops out of the air, falls 15 feet, and splashes you with this sword made of this like inky armor that she's got on. So it's going to be a d8 plus 2. That is 6 slashing damage as she comes down and hits you with her sword, and you need to roll a Constitution saving throw so you can maintain concentration on heroism. Cool.
Do I get 19 plus 2 and unnatural 21.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's fine. You maintain concentration.
Oh, I'm so glad we're both still immune to being frightened. That's really, really good. It's a really good move.
Okay, Frankie, you're up. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
That's an 8.
You're still shit scared.
Oh.
You're at the street now, so you can just start running down the street. Do you want to go left or right?
I'd like to run probably towards the direction of potentially the nearest guard station.
Sure. Yeah, go. You turn left and you start basically like you hit the road and you just turn and you just keep running. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No.
Okay.
Not at this point.
At this point, you start to leave Idopher behind a little bit. Idopher, it's your turn. You're having a lot of trouble dealing with this, and you stumble blindly out onto the road, and you keep running, and you can still hear these voices. You can still hear this soft female voice trying to tell you that it's going to be alright, and you can still hear your dad from somewhere behind you calling you champ and telling you it's going to be okay. And you basically run like out onto the street and just into the parking lot across the road from the what's over the street from Janison Griffiths Parchment Company. What's across the road?
I'd say it's a business district, right? So there'd be more like maybe another type of factory or like some shops.
Yeah, there'd be like a little.
How about a pet food processing?
Oh, pet food processing. Yeah, that sounds good. And then also there's like this really dodgy little cafe that's near it.
Yeah.
That everybody's like, don't know about that one, but you all still go because it's really cheap and it's right next to your work.
You run like sort of past the main entrance of this pet food processing place, and like you just hop a fence. Like you barely have to think about it. You're just like running to the fence and you just climb it, and you're just over, and you're falling and stumbling into the park that backs onto that fence, and you just keep running. Back to Karen.
Okay, Karen has got one electrum left, but this lady is down again, right?
She's 15 feet from you, right where Flynn is.
Right where Flimvar is. I'm actually going to try to. I'm sorry, I'm going to bring in grapple rules. I'm going to try and hold her.
Cool. You have advantage because she's still affected by fairy fire.
Lovely. So with grapple, it's just straight. It's strength, right?
Yep.
So that would be a +5 for me.
Roll versus her, so she's going to make a contesting strength throw?
Yeah. 23.
Cool. The assassin rolled a natural 1.
No.
So she is grappled.
Yeah, cool. You've got her. You've got her tight.
As she does that, because she's doing that instead of attacking, the battle axe kind of disappears and rage drops.
Cool. So you're going to hold on to your last electrum for later?
Yes.
Cool.
So now she doesn't have any of the resistances, but she's got this lady, and would you say that she's prone because she rolled a natural 1?
She's standing. Like you've got her real good.
Okay.
She's standing next to where Flynn is, and you've got her.
I'm trying to hold on to her wrists so she can't cast stuff. I got her.
The assassin's turn. She looks down at you, holding her, pinning her arms to her side, and she's like, "Oh, Karen, you must give me a call sometime." She's going to stomp out the torch. She's going to use her foot to like stand on the edge of the torch. You would have had to drop it in order to cast her spell. So she's going to like basically rub her foot into the fire of the torch, putting out the torch, and then she's going to use Shadow Step to teleport to another shadow. So you are holding her, and then suddenly your grip loosens, and she's gone, and she's standing over by Barb.
We can still see her though, because she's still
You can still see her, and she's going to bring up her sword, and she's going to attack Barb. She's attempting to kill Barb.
Oh god.
Do I care? I don't know if I would care.
So she brings down her sword and just like stabs it into Barb's back.
Oh, okay.
Not through her spine, but like through kind of where her kidney is. And just straight down into Barb. And she's going to start cackling, and as she's kind of standing there, she's going to like twist the sword a little bit, and Barb like passes out. Barb is, for all intents and purposes, completely unconscious. And she's going to start laughing and cackling. And then from the ceiling, you see a flash of movement. A pink and brown flash jumps down from the ceiling, and Friskin Longclaw cat claws down and slashes at the assassin completely out of nowhere. And so Friskin does 2d6 damage. And Friskin comes down and just like double slashes with his, just purely with his cat claws, and you like have no idea how he got up there. And he does, so he does a slash, and then he does a cool backflip, and just like does like a tucker roll backflip, landing on his feet with his hands out, taking a martial arts stance. And again, the assassin's like really confused, and she like, for a moment, she smiles and she says, "Oh, hello, kitty. Are you having fun spying on me?"
Oh.
Friskin is standing at the ready. Flynn, it's your turn.
Yeah, kitty. How far away is...
15 feet from you, and Friskin's probably about 10 feet from you, standing in front of her. I'm still really nervous. Is anyone else feeling really nervous?
This is exciting.
This is really fun.
This is really exciting.
What is the name of the god through the portal that we found in the warehouse?
Beebly boobly.
His name was Lord Quisifistus.
Quizifistus, that was it.
Lord Physicristus.
Quizifistus.
Alright, so I'm going to summon my sword finally, and I'm going to run towards her and I'm be like, one of the six, hey? Do you happen to know Lord Physicristus? No, I can't fucking say his name. Quizifistus. Do you happen to know Lord Physicristus? And don't you wonder why we've got all these cool gears? Like this one. And then I aim at her torso because she's quite tall.
Yeah. Cool. Roll me attack roll.
It's now canon that Flynn can't say that guy's name. Do I have advantage on her because she's got
Fairy fire.
So that when I roll again?
Yeah.
Is that worse?
I got a 3.
Mate.
She uses her sword to block your sword, and it kind of pushes it away, and she's back to being confident, and she says, darling, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Hiss. Okay. Hey, Frankie, roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Come on, Frankie.
That is a 10.
Plus anything?
That is the plus.
Oh no.
Still looking for a 12, so you are just Forrest Gumping it down the street.
Gumping it.
Heading towards a guard station. And as you run another 30 feet, you can hear the sounds of a cart somewhere up the road heading towards you.
And I just wasn't running. I would just be screaming help, guards, murder, scared, help. As just running down the street, hopefully getting some attention from somebody that can help.
Idopher, you sprint through this park trying to get away from these voices. You can hear something kind of behind you where you jump to the fence. You can hear a strange fists banging on wood as you run out through the park, and you end up on another street, a very dark alleyway, and you trip and fall on a fence, and you can hear footsteps approaching you. Karen.
Oh my god! You're really putting Idopher through the ringer. Where is the Countess I suppose the assassin, where is the assassin in relation to Barb?
She's standing over Barb.
Okay, or...
Barb is bleeding.
Yeah, I want to get to her. I want to... Barbarians are really good at doing big hit, and then when I want to do something that's not big hit, they're like,
You're really good at roleplay. So
that is true. Okay, Karen's going to hold out her hands and say, we're all... Okay, this has all been very exciting. We've all had a little bit of fun. You said you were one of the 6 holy servants. Can you tell me more? I didn't think there was anything holy left in the world.
Cool, roll me a persuasion check.
Ooh. Oh, that was a 2 on the dice, so that's a 6.
Yeah, it's the assassin. Are you going to make any attack actions or anything else with your turn? That persuasion check was your go?
And she's going to say, and if you won't tell me anything,
that means you're a wuss.
That means you're a fucking wimp.
Tell me or you suck.
Tell me or you're lame. My kids taught me that word. No, that was a really bad roll, so I guess she's just gonna ready herself so she can do a reaction if an attack comes at her next.
Cool. Okay, so you're gonna prepare yourself for an attack?
Yes.
Okay, it's the assassin's turn. She is going to look down at Barb, look at kind of shrewdly at the tabaxi janitor who is standing ready to fight with his claws extended. She looks over at Flynn, and she looks at you, Karen, and she says, this just stopped being fun. Questions? I thought you had more. And she's going to vanish from where she's standing. Mm-hmm. And you can hear heeled footsteps behind you, and you turn and you look, as she is now like walking out the door of the factory. You hear the noise of people screaming as she comes into view from the balcony. You can't see this, but the footsteps stop and there's a small whoosh, and you can assume that she's taken flight. And then you hear the noise of a clap, and that like weird like zhuzhing noise of her like fright mechanic. And you hear everyone that was standing on the balcony screaming, and like suddenly you can hear a lot of footsteps, and then you get the idea, you didn't see it, you get the idea that she went outside and used her fear on the people who were on the balcony trying to like get a view.
Ah, damn it. Okay.
Flynn, what are you gonna do?
So, is she...
Actually, sorry, before I do that, I have to roll a death save for she failed.
My bad.
Flynn, what are you gonna do?
Do I know where she's gone? Is she very far from me?
She teleported to the door of the factory, and then she walked out, and you heard some sounds sort of indicating what she was doing, but you now don't have eyes on her anymore.
Okay. Why couldn't she have stayed close to me?
You can run out so you can find her.
Yeah, but she's flying. Yeah, so I'm going to run out to the door of the factory and like look out to see if I can see Idopher.
Cool, roll me a perception check.
14.
No, you don't see Frankie, you don't see Idopher, you don't see the assassin, and the people who are leaning over the balcony are no longer doing so.
Okay. I'm going to pull another torch out of my bag of holding then and light that.
Okay, cool.
And then-
You are now surrounded by an aura of 30 feet of light. Frankie, wisdom saving throw?
Come on. It's still 7.
Oh, Frank.
And you're just tearing up the street as you see a cart full of guards and a few Warforged pass you, heading back the other way towards the Jansen Griffith Parchment Company. Idopher.
Yep. You see there's feet behind me, right?
Yeah, you are now full on hallucinating. You can see kind eyes looking at you as you're lying on the ground. You can still hear that banging of fists on wood. You feel sick. You're so scared that you are trembling and shaking and crying and curling up into a little ball. And right before you sort of like completely lose grip on reality, you feel a couple of hands sort of grab you by the wrists. Karen, what are you doing?
Karen has run over to Barb, and she is trying to, she's ripped off her little cardigan and she's holding it to the wound. Okay. And I guess I would make a medicine check.
Yeah, make a medicine check.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, could have helped Barb.
Yeah, she's desperately trying to stop Barb from dying. That is a 17.
Okay, so Barb's bleeding out. She's got a big sword wound, like through her kidneys, and she will very likely die very soon if something is not done.
Karen's just going to start calling for help.
Okay.
She's going to start saying, "Help! Help me! She's dying!"
Barb very weakly, like, reaches her hand out and, like, touches your foot, knee, just whatever is nearby, and kind of, like, is squeezing it. Like, you can tell that she's in a lot of pain. And she's, like, crying and spluttering, and she's gonna die really soon.
Yep.
If nothing is done. The assassin appears to be gone. She's not gonna have a turn. She doesn't seem to be doing anything. Flynn, you can hear a giggling sort of, like, in the air. It's getting further and further away. You get the feeling that she got bored and now she's just left.
Okay.
I'm going to roll a death save for Barb. She failed.
Wasn't she stabilized?
No. Do you do I give her advantage or anything because I'm trying to help, or is that I don't think you can in the death save.
She basically, if she fails 3 times, she dies.
Yeah.
If she succeeds 3 times, she lives.
Yeah.
And if someone uses healing magic on her, that stabilizes her.
If only the party healer, one of them, wasn't running away.
Flynn, you're up.
You can hear Karen calling for help back in the
Yeah, so I can hear her like, so he's kind of standing on the doorway with his torch bent and then like one hand in his bag of holding, looking a little bit disappointed, like listening to her and then listening to Karen and kind of like looking between. And then I'm gonna like gap it to Karen and heal Barb.
You like look around, you're like kind of still running the intensity of combat, and you realize that like, no, this is done, she's gone. And so you run back into the factory and you kneel down next to Karen, and you're going to use what, cure wounds?
Cure wounds, yeah.
Do you have a Elytrin for that?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, go ahead and roll me healing. I think that's D8 plus whatever your modifier is. Cha.
I can use this as a second spell if I wanted to, but I'll just do first.
I mean, Friskin is there, but
Yeah, but he's still like that.
He's just kind of watching you.
Yeah.
He's no longer in combat stance. He's just kind of like looking. He doesn't seem to be doing anything to help.
Okay. 10, so I lay my hands in the electrum over her and I'm like, I guess you kind of deserve this. Like, heal her as much as I can.
Cool. So a golden, warm light extends down your hands and into Barb. Karen, you can feel the wound that you're putting pressure on just close up, and she is now stabilized, and she takes a deep intake of breath and rolls over and is like panting and like looks at the two of you and she says, "How did you do that?"
Shush. Lie still.
Karen holds her hand and gently kind of pushes her back down. She says, just lie still. It's going to be all over soon.
Okay. I'm going to skip ahead a couple of minutes. Frankie, you've run as far as you can and you've like pantingly managed to jog back to the entrance of the factory. What you see is a bunch of guards standing around talking to Karen and Flynn. What did you tell the guards?
Karen is a very lawful character. And even though Barb is like her best buddy, she did kill like 2 dudes.
Yeah.
But also, Fabian was on the balcony, so I think she's going to say, I need to calm down before I can take a statement. I think the person you should talk to first is Fabian. He's a journalist. He's been writing everything down, I think. And I think you should talk to him first. And she's kind of like holding Barb up and just saying everything's going to be all right. I'm going to make sure you get to see your daughter.
Okay. So Frankie, you walk into the factory and the scene that you can see is the guards kind of like handcuffing her. Jennison Briffords Jr. is down there as well, talking to one of the guards. The Warforged trying to like lead her away, but Karen's like having trouble letting her go. Flynn is just sitting, panting with his he's just sitting up against one of the machines, just sitting on the floor. Everyone looks really upset, and you feel kind of embarrassed that you weren't able to help.
Yeah, it's annoying.
You kind of like meet eyes with Karen and you meet eyes with Flynn. Something feels a little off. Idopher, you come to. There is something covering your head, and you can hear a voice telling you not to struggle. Marvelous, thanks you pretty eyes. You'll make a good harvest. As the three of you are collecting your breath and trying to figure out what the hell just happened to you tonight, Bolo sprints into the factory and he's shaking and he's like, "They took Idopher! They took Idopher!"
Who took Idopher? Where's he gone?
Oh, hey, I think they're gone now. At least I think so. I can't see much from up here on the balcony. Anyway, I think my biggest takeaway here is that surprises are overrated, and you should just tell everybody what you have planned all the time. Keep it written down. That's my big wisdom from this whole thing. Thanks for listening.